One of my favorite quotes out there is one by Rumi. There's many gold quotes by Rumi. Your task is not to seek love, but merely to seek and find all the barriers within yourself that you have built against it. February is known to be a month that in America we consumerized, if that's a word, romantic love. I love making February about self-love and have been doing that for over a decade. Taking this opportunity to try and heal all of the things that get in the way of us loving ourselves more. In a society where not enough and harsh inner critics are rampant, it's important that we learn ways to build a connection of love and compassion and acceptance toward ourselves. Sounds easy, but it might not be that easy. I am in this video going to share 3 barriers that are standing between yourself and loving yourself more. And my hope is that in illuminating these barriers with curiosity and compassion, you start to dissolve them and get closer to loving yourself. So the first one is false beliefs, or what I like to call stories. So there can be a lot of stories that stand between us and self-love, whether they're stories of being broken or not enough, as I mentioned earlier. I know that a story that I've brought up very often is the story that it's selfish to love yourself more. It's more important to be giving that love outwardly. And that story has gotten in the way sometimes of me taking care of myself. That story has gotten in the way of me following my dreams. So very important that I keep a gentle eye on some of those stories. Sure, it was innocent that message was given to me somewhere along the line, whether it was family or it was society or it was a group that I was associated with. Being thoughtful and considerate of others is wonderful. It's a trait of mine I never would want to change. And loving yourself, taking care of yourself is not selfish. The second barrier that I want to talk about is inner parts. So many of you know that I am level 1 trained internal family systems. So I often use that approach in my private practice, and I receive IFS, or internal family systems therapy, in my own personal growth and development. It makes sense to me. And I think if you think about it this way, it will make sense to you as well. In you lies different parts that were born with the best of intentions, right? So let's take the inner critic. Let's take the part of us that's kind of like, oof, that doesn't look so good, or that, I don't think that's so good, or whatever. Let's take that, and we can recognize that it's got good intentions, right? At the same time, we can recognize that sometimes it's harsh. I had a client this week literally do the gesture this and call herself stupid in Italian. Again, the part itself thinks it's helping her improve and make positive changes. But what I question when I work with parts like this in myself and with clients is that really helpful? And then there is a twinge of it that's helpful, right? It's trying to make you notice that there's a place where you could do better. And working with our parts to see if there may be a more uplifting and supportive way of communicating to ourselves is possible, right? So that's another thing I want you to gently look at. The last barrier that I'm going to mention today is the barrier of we must reject anything we don't like or anything that we perceive as negative. So again, there can be a message from family, from friends, from society that something about us is not good, whether that's something like anger or weight, some sort of body shape or physical look. And we may decide that we do need to work on our anger management, or we may decide that we do need to be healthier physically. And we may see it as an important part in our healing journey or in our lives. What I'm recommending here is that if you start off with just like rejection, just get rid of it, I hate it, I don't want it, it's going to be harder. It's another barrier towards loving and accepting yourself, because now there's a part of you that you're no longer loving or accepting. In my newsletter, which you can subscribe to in the comments, I share a personal story that I'll share here as well. And that is when I realized that I was reaching a weight that was not healthy for my body shape and for my height, I went to a nutritionist. And this nutritionist, Liz Vaquist, she's amazing. I think she's now a nurse practitioner and has moved on to other things, but her work was monumental in my life. And she recommended that I first start by accepting myself. She recommended affirmations by Louise Hay, which are amazing, by the way. If any of you haven't heard of it, I'll put a link to that in the captions as well. Basically, Louise Hay has a bunch of affirmations and mantras that encourage you to love and accept yourself as you are. And she has 100 different ways of saying that. So on my walk to work while I was seeing this nutritionist, I would literally play these affirmations in my head. And I am convinced that the work I was doing to love and accept myself as I was right there and then empowered me to take the information that she was giving me and have a more effective weight loss. So those are 3 barriers. I'd love to hear your thoughts. If you can relate to any of them, if by doing this you were able to identify other barriers that may lie between you and self-love, please subscribe, comment, do all the things so that we can share this with each other. Because if I'm carrying stories like this, I know other people are as well. So please know that whatever you're carrying, you're not alone. And I am convinced that all of us have room to grow in loving themselves.